words out there.
The Thomas Bryant jockstrap? Get him out of here!
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back! They snatched that chain, boy. Get back! What y'all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back! We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Gonna dive into this beautiful edition of the Big Factor, guys. Before I have to air my grievances out, it is about 9 billion, jillion, trillion degrees in here.
It's
I
hot.
think I've already lost 5 pounds in sweat since I hit the start stream.
The water weight is going to be subtracted off this week's episode of The Big Factor. The Big Play studio here at Burke Lakefront Airport is hot. It's also under construction, oddly, and it's something that we have nothing to do with. But if you hear some sort of odd drilling, that's not us. That's likely the toilets next to us.
Well, how's everybody's day? We're here on a Monday recording this if you're watching the Rockets, obviously Tuesday. But we're coming back from the weekend, coming back from a great Call of Companies championship. Part of the senior tour at Akron, and it was just a wonderful time, guys.
It really was. We had a blast out
Yeah,
there.
I mean, that was like the coolest experience ever. I mean, just all the hangout areas there were awesome. The golf was awesome. Got a couple of nice days there at the end. You get an awesome Game 7. The guards take 2 or 3 over the weekend. But yeah, guys, we might be playing shirts versus skins by the second segment here because this is getting ugly. I am really, really hot.
Yeah, I hate to be that guy. I'm not really sweating. Like, I kind of feel comfortable in this heat right now.
I'm
What's
drenched.
going
I
on?
don't sweat like that. I'm drenched.
Yeah, and it's the fact too that the air is thick. Like
Yes,
I'm having a
it
hard
does feel
time getting a
thick.
good
I don't
breath
know.
in.
It's like the air
I'm
quality
okay.
is lower.
Yeah, I
in
don't
here.
know.
I'm about to get a
I-
notification on my phone
I'm
that it's
not-
unsafe to be in this room.
I've been
Mask
in
that,
some
Larry
really,
Tunsil had.
really hot gyms in my life with some really, really thick air with about twice as many sweaty and hot people in it. So maybe that's why. But I'm not really stressing this right now.
This hat's about to be a darker shade of blue.
It's like the Royals' home color by the end of the show.
I feel like I just played 60 minutes in an NBA Finals
Okay,
game.
come on.
Well, all right, I'm being dramatic, but let's start there. Basketball, obviously. The Oklahoma City Thunder are a city of champions. They take down the Indiana Pacers in 7 games, their first ever franchise's NBA championship since relocating to OKC. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander named the Finals MVP. That's, of course, expected, and one of 4 players, I believe, in a season to win the regular season MVP, the scoring title, and now be an NBA Finals champion.
I think he's the first ever to do this, though, because he got the Western Conference one, right?
Clean
As well.
sweep.
So,
Yeah,
now
clean
he's gotten
sweep.
everything. This has got to be the first guy ever. How do you guys feel about this for Shea? How do you does this rank somewhere super high for you? Were you super impressed? How do you guys feel?
I mean, it's what honestly feel a little bit weird, to be honest with you, because this is one of the most historic, most memorable seasons by an individual player and a team in NBA history. And I saw some of the chatter online last night after the Thunder were named champions, and a lot of people were comparing their celebration to the Stanley Cup final celebration that just happened last week. And something about it just felt hollow, you know, maybe because it was almost too easy. And I don't know how you could even say that, because it was the NBA Finals went 7 games, but it felt just like expected. The Oklahoma City Thunder were the favorites coming into the NBA playoffs. They were the best team all throughout the regular season. So it's an awesome, memorable season from SGA, but I feel like for some reason this championship is going to be treated like the 2019 Raptors, like the 2020 NBA bubble. Like, I don't think people are going to hold it in that high of a regard. And I kind of don't understand why, because it was a really great effort, and it was the most consistent champion that we've seen in a really long time.
Very quickly, Nick, you touched on the celebrations. I think it was awesome on the NHL side seeing Sasha Barkov go up to his neighbors. I don't know if you guys saw this one, to his neighbor's house at 5 a.m. on the ring cam. I was like, hey, I got the Stanley Cup. Come outside. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, the thing with SGA is, like, I don't know, every single time, like, I read about big games, like, see what people are saying online after these wins in the playoffs, it'd always be like, oh, he did this and that, and he had 12 assists, so he had 20 plus points. But he got all these points at the free throw line. Like, there's always like an if or a something else, or an OJ Will had a great game also. But like, I think you can finally cement him in this. Hey, like, he was the true leader of this team. He went out, had a great game last night. Like, I know the shooting performance could have been a tiny bit better, as always it seems to come back to with him. But man, like, when you come out, you win the scoring title, you win the conference finals MVP, the finals MVP, the actual MVP. Like, there's only so much the guy can do before he can just go, hey, look, I did all this. Like, what else do you want from me? Like, it's a really cool moment for him. At such a young age, too. And it's kind of cool just in general, looking past it, like the development of non-American players in the NBA. Like, I know being from Canada isn't the craziest difference in the world, but they showed a bunch of graphics early in the game last night of all the guys that are Canadian playing in that game, and obviously the success of Jokic and Giannis in recent years. Like, it's pretty cool how big the NBA is growing.
Yeah, I don't understand why people feel this way, and I kind of call myself thinking that too, but I just don't get it. Shai's just been, the team doesn't work without him. He makes some of the toughest shots I've ever seen. He has such a polished game. Yes, he goes to the line, but that's like saying when LeBron used to get fouled a lot, he goes to the basket all the time. That's his game. He's going to attack the basket. You're going to get fouls. When you're a master of a pump fake and getting people up in the air, why would you not go take the two at the line and put your opponent with an extra foul? This is one of the better seasons I've seen out of a player. Now, granted, his game just isn't super flashy, so people aren't going to remember, oh, he dunked on this guy.
Right.
And every time it was 40 because he's giving you 33 every time. So when it goes up to 39, it doesn't even seem that crazy to you. But I just, if someone does it and is so dominant, and granted, their road to the finals was kind of easy, but they were the 1 seed with the best record. And by the time Anthony Edwards was a little banged up in the Western Conference Finals, it happens. They stayed healthy. You got to give them credit for that as well. They did what they had to do, and it was dominant. I don't know how people don't respect it. I could see comparing it to the Raptors a little bit, but yeah, with the injury at the end, and it kind of sucks the life out of what it is at the end of the game. But to take anything away from Shai and the Thunder, I think is unfair. They did everything they were supposed to do, and they took care of business all season, and they got what they deserved.
How about this? I think the people that are resisting SGA and the greatness that was this entire regular season run, and really the NBA Finals run as well, the people that kind of have their guard up about that are the people that are kind of probably resisting this new era of the NBA that we're it's time to embrace. Like, it's a young man's league now. This is the living proof of it. We were close to that last year when Luka Doncic made an NBA Finals and, obviously couldn't get the job done. But this is not, the NBA that we all grew up watching. This isn't the NBA that your dad and grandparents grew up watching. Like, the old guard that we're all used to, from LeBron, Steph, KD, who just got moved. More on that, coming up later in the show. That era is over. That era is passed on. The baton has been passed to SGA, Halliburton, and these young players that are going to be around for some time.
Even with the Celtics and Tatum, they were like, oh, this doesn't feel like they're superstars or whatever. Like, this is just new teams with newer, younger players that got to get established. They might not be the face of the league yet, but give it a couple years and he gets to the point where they've been back 4 or 5 times and maybe he has 3 rings. Then it'll start to shift and they'll say we should have. It's one of those things they always go back. They talk about like opening the vault. Dwayne Wade, got taken. He had one of the greatest runs ever when he was young, but people didn't really like look back on that and start to understand that until he was a Hall of Famer and he was about to leave the sport. How great his career was. It could be the same thing with SGA, where he won a championship so young and it was such a great run, but it doesn't get appreciated till later when people go back and think, man, this dude's been good for so long and he's actually made an impact on the sport.
Yeah, for sure, and like. To your point with Boston last year, like this is the new wave, and it's gonna take people some time. Like, but this is what everybody campaigned for. Like when it was Cavs Warriors for 4 straight years. Obviously, locally here in Northeast Ohio, we loved it because our Cavs were in the NBA championship every single year. But nationally, the conversation was people were tired of that rivalry. People were yearning for parity in the NBA, and now that we've had, I think, 7 straight seasons with 7 new NBA champions, we have parity in the league, and I think it's just going to take some time for everybody to get used to this.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, and teams, it's different too because it's not like these superstar-led shows. Every team is a good team, especially 3 of the 4 last teams to go. I mean, Kyrie and Luka was a little bit of a superstar thing, but that was still a really good team with Lively, Gafford, and all those guys. But get ready to just understand that one person isn't going to always have the backpack on, and that teams are going to have to be good, probably 1 through 8 to win the championship.
Well, we got to take a break, but we're not done talking about the NBA Finals. We'll talk about that more, Halliburton's injury, etc. But, Nick, before we go to break, we got to talk about this Jog affair. The NBA Finals went 7 games, which I thought was a great NBA Finals series. Even though you didn't get one of those big markets, that was fun. But this is going to be even more fun, Nick.
This is going to be a ton of fun. We're going to be out there. The fellas are going to be out there at some point. Obviously, the Geauga County Fair not till later this summer. But today, Monday, June 23rd, is the last day of the flash sale. So if you're watching this on The Rock, we'll see you out there. You could still get your tickets, jagafair.com, but we're putting this out on social media on Monday. Come on out, get your tickets half off during this flash sale. Tickets are usually $10. You could come hang out, $5. Geauga County Fair is Ohio's oldest county fair. The 203rd edition promises an unforgettable experience with over 5,000 animals, thrilling rides and games, daily free shows, sea lion splash, Pirates of the Caribbean, aerial thrill show. There's a truck pull, tractor pull, demolition derby. Tickets for all the grandstand events are already available. jagafair.com. This is a chance for families to lock in early and save. They want everybody to be a part of history, everybody to be a part of the fun that's going to be the 203rd Great Geauga County Fair. It's August 28th through September 1st, but you want to lock in your tickets now for the summer solstice flash sale, online only. You could visit their website, jagafair.com, from June 20th through June 23rd. Again, today is the last day to take advantage of this limited time offer.
All right, we got to go to break. When we get back, Tyrese Halliburton, gut-wrenching moment for him, seeing him in pain, grabbing his leg. We'll talk about that when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Got to tell you about our friends at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford, Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state. Biggest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks. You see right up there, employee pricing for everybody. You pay less than what they pay. That's pre-tariff pricing on all Fords with over 500 in stock on their lot in Canfield. Your dream vehicle could be there right now as we speak. So don't let that short drive prevent you from saving literally thousands of dollars on your new ride. Fairway Ford is the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and the same hometown level service. Again, scan the QR code or go give the website a visit, fairwayfordohio.com. That's fairwayfordohio.com. Well, guys, it was a night of celebration for the Thunder, but a night of a little bit of agony, I'll say, for Tyrese Halliburton. It's still incredible that they got there and made it to 7, but just that gut-wrenching moment. Tyrese Halliburton had 9 points in 7 minutes before going down. You saw the Achilles pop. You saw him go down immediately. Everybody knew what it was. Playing on that calf strain, we talked a little bit pre-show about how dangerous that is. You just saw Damian Lillard go down with an Achilles tear. You saw Jason Tatum go down with the Achilles tear. And now we see Tyrese Halliburton go down with the same thing, an Achilles tear. And this means he won't be playing basketball likely next season at all for the Indiana Pacers. We'll talk about the Cavaliers and what that means, but I still want to talk about the Pacers. Stay in with the Pacers, I should say. Tyrese Halliburton, where does this go down as just some of the most gut-wrenching injuries you've ever seen in your life?
So I said this like immediately after it happened. I tweeted this out. We were robbed of what was probably going to be a classic performance and just an all-time classic game. The life was kind of sucked out of the game after that. The Pacers, they kind of stayed in it, but we all knew it was over once that happened. One of my main gripes with the NBA is I'm sick of seeing like the injury get replayed 42 times.
It was like so many.
After
The
it
NFL
happened,
doesn't
bro.
do that. That is true.
That's what I'm saying,
That's
like-
an NBA
Like,
thing.
show Chubb
Stop,
on.
No.
bro. Like I know I see one time, bro. I saw it snap. He's cooked. Then you got him laying on the floor like in tears, just pure agony. Like you know his whole like he put it all on the line, and he even knew as soon as it happened. Like he's telling the trainer, "I did it." And they're just like zooming in on him, smacking the ground, just like in pain. Like I think it's just so unsettling and weird. You feel awful for the kid. You understand why he played. He knew the risk. it's just sad that it had to work out that way. And for the organization, I mean, that may be the closest they ever get. Like, it's going to be hard to rebound from that. He's not a super player that's like got to rely on his athleticism, but there's no guarantee that the core will be the same in 2 years for them to make a run at it or teams want to surpass them by then. It was just overall just they had came so far and they had done so much, but it was just all in that moment. It all just went away at the snap of a finger.
Rob, that's so well said. Like, I went into game 7 with no real rooting interest. I just wanted to see a great game. And when Tyrese Halliburton went down, I was like storming around my basement, legitimately mad, because the way that he started those games, like those threes were Steph Curry range.
And they were from deep, and those are pressure shots.
They were
deep,
the and like you could tell he wanted it so bad, especially the way that they fought to win that game 6 in blowout fashion, man. And we were robbed of what could have been an all-time game 7. That's what bums me out the most is in that fourth quarter, there was really little reason to watch. Like the Thunder understood the assignment in the second half. Like Indiana did a great job trying to keep it close without Halliburton all throughout the first half. But that is one of the most deflating injuries that I think we'll see in sport. That would be like you mentioned Chubb, Jack. That would be like if that Chubb injury happened like in the Super Bowl.
Could you imagine that just as an like a fan base? Because you still kind of, I think as a Pacers fan, where my head would have been at in that moment is obviously your first thought is about Hallie and like wanting him to be okay, but your head does probably pretty quick snap back into the fact that you're watching a game 7 of the team you've rooted for your whole entire life, and they're this close, and boom, and like they're not going to be good next year, right? Or, I mean, not that they're going to be bad, but like, where are they going to be next year?
They're not a like
threat. 6th,
They're
7th, probably. 8th,
yeah,
that
get
area.
ready to
6,
Indiana, and I feel bad. Imagine if we
Play-in,
were doing this
probably.
show in Indiana. Get ready to learn NBA play-in tournament, buddy.
Yeah.
Yes.
A pretty crazy stat, though. Tyrese Halliburton obviously only played 7 minutes, as I mentioned. 9 points, though. 3 threes. His 3 threes, I should say, he went 3 for 4 beyond the arc, was the most of any player in that entire game.
He was going to actually it was going to be like a 30 to 40 type point game from him somehow. And it was just so sad. He was so ready. He's never, like I said, he has never shied away from any moment, all playoffs, big shots, big moments. He's there. And you always are going to have to say what if now, but I actually wholeheartedly think the Pacers win that game if he doesn't go down.
That
Like,
says
it's
something,
just-
man. When are we going to be throwing up the big asterisks like the Mickey Mouse?
No, I mean,
People were already doing that
I'm not
yesterday.
doing
Like,
that.
I'm not doing that.
Pacers
The
had
injuries are a
injury
part
luck
of
as
sports.
well.
Yeah.
Like they did, but it's just, that, and I think that's another reason people were kind of taking it away from the Thunder. But just to know that he came out and put up 9, and that was like the second leading scorer going in the half, and he did that in 7 minutes it was sad, man.
Oh, man. Well, we'll take a break when we get back. We're not done with basketball yet. In fact, basketball is going to be the main topic of this show. Kevin Durant, a blockbuster trade. He's headed to Houston for a few picks and a few players. Talk about who we think won that trade, what it means for Kevin Durant. Are the Rockets legit the favorite to win the West outside of the Thunder next year? We'll talk about that when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson, and our friends at Garage Beer, which comes in just 2 flavors, classic light lager as well as classic lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. This is just beer the way that you want beer to taste, and that's beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you or scan that QR code. It's drinkgaragebeer.com. Again, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. Well, guys, we're still talking about the NBA. Kevin Durant, a blockbuster trade on Game 7 the night of Game 7 in the NBA Finals, which is absolutely crazy. We'll talk about that. But the trade, Durant goes from the Phoenix Suns to the Rockets. The Rockets give up Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's NBA draft, as well as 5 second-round picks. Rockets didn't have to give up any of the young guys, Reed Shepard, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason. They also didn't have to give up the Suns' 2027 and 2029 first-round selections as well. Initial thoughts, bare bones of this trade. Who do we think won?
I'm going Houston now that I've had some more time to think about it. This was a team that was so backed up at the guard position, and I had honestly forgot about Reed Shepard and the fact that he was like the second or third pick and had to play in the G League all year because of a guy like Jalen Green who just didn't show up in the playoffs as a guy they've been waiting to make that final jump, and he just hasn't done it. They got a guy named Cam Whitmore on the roster who's an absolute beast but just doesn't get the opportunity to play because of that guard backup that they had. So getting rid of Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green opens it up for those youngsters to really shine, and you get an upgrade easily over both those players with Kevin Durant only giving up some pretty expendable pieces to a team in a number 10 pick that's probably going to be like a NBA role player at best. So the Rockets definitely are starting to go for that. They're going for it. They see the core. They see Sengun's a very good player. They know Amen Thompson is a menace, and they want to see what they can do with this team.
Yeah, I think Houston won the trade. I think you have to say that, right? Just because they're getting the purest score that I've really ever seen. You're getting one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA. So while they gave up a lot, I saw a lot of people saying, hey, you gave up a 22-year-old that's still got years to go before we even talk about Jalen Green stepping into his prime. You get a guy in Kevin Durant that expedites your timeline to compete for an NBA championship now, to compete for an NBA championship next year in a league where there is so much parity. And we're talking about the fact that there's been 7 straight seasons with a new NBA champion. Houston's trying to make it 8 next year. So I can't be mad at the Rockets for going out there and making this trade. Houston was a destination where Kevin Durant said, hey, if this was the team that traded for me, it would be more than just a one-year rental for the Rockets. So KD on the Rockets back in Texas. I think it'll be good for the NBA, and I think it will make Houston more legitimate come playoff time, because you look at Kevin Durant and what he's able to bring to the table when the lights are the brightest. This is a guy that's been there, done that. This isn't banking on a bunch of fun young guys. This is a guy that has 2 legitimate NBA championships under his belt, whether we want to admit that here in Cleveland or not. KD's a champ, and I think he'll help this Rockets team out a bunch.
The argument that the fan base internally in Houston has made a lot this year too is that they had better players sitting behind, kind of like how we want to see the rookies play this year, but with experience. Like Tari Eason's a great player. Jabari Smith was a top pick. And like I mentioned with Whitmore and Amen Thompson, these are all dudes that were having their opportunities limited by a guy who was pretty inefficient in Jalen Green, and then Dylan Brooks, who's a solid player, good 3-and-D player, but Amen Thompson, a much better defender with a much higher ceiling. They want to see what those guys can do. So I like the trade for them, and I want to know what the Suns are cooking. Yeah. What are they cooking? You got 3 shooting guards on the roster and nothing else that all do the same thing. Why do you guys keep getting players that do the same thing as Devin Booker but worse? I don't understand it. And I'm assuming Jalen Green's got to get traded, but I've heard reports that they like him. But I just don't understand what they're chefing up back there whatsoever.
Beal's not getting moved either. And I think also, like, everything I read going into them trading Kevin Durant in the first place was going to be, at the bare minimum, it didn't need to be the first piece in the trade or even the second piece, but you had to go get a playable big. Was a really big need for Phoenix. They didn't even go out and do that. Like, you don't really get back any of your own first round picks besides this 10th this year. Like, I don't know, man. I think they could be in trouble.
I can see
what are they gonna do? They could just blow it up, right?
They might be drafting that kid from Duke. He could be there around 10. Big center from, like, I think somewhere in Africa. He was a pretty good player. He's got a high ceiling, but I mean, if that's what they're doing, I still just don't get, like, you tried out Jalen Green, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. Like, you got to play them all. You're not going to bring someone off the bench. Like, it's just the ugly lineup. I don't see what they're doing.
Did Russell Westbrook ever play on the Rockets?
Yes.
I thought he did. So now they've had in Houston Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and now Kevin Durant.
Yeah, they ran it up.
That's interesting. Guys, what does this mean, Kevin Durant's legacy? You start in Oklahoma City, you don't get it done, but you win an MVP. You're one of the best players ever. You go to Golden State, you win 2 NBA Finals MVPs, 2 rings, obviously. Then you go to Brooklyn, doesn't work out. You go to the Suns, doesn't work out. Now you're going to another team in the Houston Rockets with the chance to go to the playoffs and make the NBA Finals. We said that about the Suns, and it didn't work out. What do we think this means for a guy like Kevin Durant when he retires? We're going to look at his legacy. does he need another ring to kind of solidify him being one of those greats, or has he already done that?
He's a great of the game. If you watch and understand basketball, you just understand the talent and just the beauty that it is to watch Kevin Durant play. Now, another ring with another team will do something for him because there are people that look at those Golden State rings and don't respect them at all. It'd kind of be like when LeBron came and won a ring again on another team, per se. More so the Lakers ring, I would think, than the Cavs ring. It's a little bit different, but I don't think it's one of those things where it's like everyone will always think that Kevin Durant is this all-time great player, but he'll definitely move up a couple spots if he could get one done in Houston without just the Golden State rings. But his legacy is cemented as just being probably the greatest and most talented scorer ever.
Agreed. And the thing at the championships are, like even prior to, leave the trade out of it, right? I think the championship thing with Oklahoma City winning a ring without Kevin Durant, although it took them 13 years to bounce back from that, it just goes to show that they did what Kevin Durant couldn't do, and that's win an NBA championship by himself. KD is still on this conquest to win an NBA championship, with his own team, and we've seen him try to assemble these super teams, and it hasn't worked. I'm with Rob. I think he'll go down as one of the great scorers of all time. I think it helps his legacy that he has those Golden State rings, regardless of how they happen to come. But I think it will always be but when you're discussing KD, because he was never, at least till this point, able to do it on his own. Now, if he does it with the Rockets, especially at this advanced age that he's at now, I mean, people will talk about KD, or at least they should, in the same conversation that we talk about Michael, LeBron, Kobe. I would put Kevin Durant right up in that conversation if he could win a ring with the Rockets next year.
I also think, looking at him too, I think a lot of times people who are anti-LeBron will come at that he started the super team era back when he formed the Heatles and stuff. But KD, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I think he's kind of the first mercenary superstar we ever saw in sports. Up until 2000 in the first place, you didn't really see star players move teams. Then now it's kind of, when you think of a true elite top tier talent player, you rarely can think of them on more than 2 or 3 teams. He's probably the first ever true bona fide megastar who has played on this many teams as the top guy, which I think is kind of interesting in any sport.
Saying he got passed around a lot?
Yeah, he did.
Fair enough.
I saw online he completed the rainbow of
I saw that
NBA
too.
uniforms.
Because he's got a Sonics
The
uniform.
Shaq.
Yeah,
in
the
there,
Sonics
too.
uniform. Yeah, he's completed the Shaq
rainbow.
lore. Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. When we get back, we're still talking more basketball. We're going to talk about our Cleveland Cavaliers. NBA offseason is officially here for everybody, guys. They are the number 2 favorited team to win an NBA title, according to FanDuel, at plus 800. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Big Play Sports Network. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factory here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson. We've talked a lot of basketball today, guys, but it's only appropriate. Obviously, the NBA Finals just wrapped up. It is officially the offseason for everybody. It's been an offseason for a little bit for our Cleveland Cavaliers. We saw Jason Tatum go down, and he'll be out next year. We saw Tyrese Halliburton just go down. He'll be out next year. The Cavaliers right now are the favorite to win the East on many sports books. In fact, here on FanDuel Sports Network, on the FanDuel Sports Book, I should say, they are plus 800. That's second overall to win the NBA title. Oklahoma City is obviously the favorite. At plus 220, the Knicks are third, plus 900, and the Rockets are second in the West, also plus 900. There's going to be a lot of discussion, guys, this year. If the Cavaliers don't get it done next year, at least make it to the NBA Finals with the way that the East is going to be likely set up, that some things will have to change. And whether that's a complete overhaul with coaching, GM, front office, player-wise, something's going to have to change. Do we feel confident the Cavaliers will get it done? And do you agree with me that they have to get it done?
Ryan, look at me. 2 words for you here on a Monday on The Factor. No excuses. You could maybe do 3 more words. No more excuses for these Cleveland Cavaliers, because this is it. I mean, Jason Tatum is out for the entirety of next season. You look at Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton is out for the remainder of next season. You look at Miami, the team that you swept in the first round. Maybe they tried to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. They tried to get Kevin Durant, but the cat's out of the bag, fellas, because the Cleveland Cavaliers were named as a wild card suitor for Kevin Durant. And I think you had a lot of people over the weekend saying, well, of course, that's Kobe Altman doing his job. Of course, a general manager is going to call on one of the top players in the NBA right now. But the fact of the matter is, to be named a wild card suitor, the conversation was probably a little bit more than just a phone call. So Kobe Altman, Dan Gilbert, I think the Cavs at large know how important next season is. If they're calling to make a splash on Kevin Durant, they know that they have to win the Eastern Conference and probably should win an NBA championship next year. I know that sounds aggressive to say in June, one day after the season ends, but you look at the Eastern Conference, the New York Knicks, come on, the Cavs were a better team than them throughout the regular season. The Orlando Magic, come on. Cleveland, with what we've been through and the dedication that they've put into this core 4, next year has to be it for this Cleveland Cavaliers group. And if it's not, then you're looking at blowing this entire thing up.
Do you think they're not done too, based off the reports that they're possibly in on KD as a wild card suitor? Like, I think if that report comes out, right, you gotta think they're open to other possibilities around the NBA.
Jack, Cat is out of the bag. Like,
I think you almost have to do something now after you're reportedly in it.
If you were willing to make what would have been the biggest splash of this NBA season, that tells you that this core floor ain't as safe as we thought it was headed into the weekend. You know, we thought that this second apron, they might be a little strapped. They really like DG. They feel like if he's healthy, Jared Allen, the 2 bigs can coexist. Something tells me if you were looking to move around something of the ilk of $65 million for Kevin Durant, you were probably having trade conversations centered around Darius Garland, centered around Jared Allen. So, Jack, I think if they could find a way to move off of one of those guys, and if it was in a way that it helped improve the team, buckle up, folks, because the NBA offseason's here. We could be in for a fun week. The NBA draft is here this week. We know there's usually motion and activity around that event every year. Rob, am I crazy that I don't think this core 4 is safe after we hear that the Cavs were named wild card suitors for Kevin Durant? That's more than just a phone call.
This is going to be like a complete 180 for me. But I feel like we're in for, as Cavs fans, a super boring offseason. I think with the East weakening, we're just going to see them completely just stand pat and run it back. And it'll be, if you fail with the weakened East, you do tear it down then, but it may be false success if it does work, because that'll be like our Indiana one shot. But if you get a ring, somehow it does. But I think what they're seeing now, they were ready to take that risk for KD because they thought they needed to get better. But now everyone around them, in a sense, has gotten worse. So I think what they might seriously say is we're going to keep it all the same. And now that everyone's gotten worse and everyone's weaker, we should just get it done next year.
That's such a loser mentality. That's a loser mentality. That's a loser mentality, Rob, because you were willing to make the move for Kevin Durant. You were willing to make the move for Kevin Durant prior to Halliburton's injury.
I do not
You would
agree
think now that Halliburton goes down, it's even more so. We've got to do something. This is right there for the taking. Like, the window is wide open for the Cavs to win a championship.
I think that's why they're going to play it safer, because now the window is so open, they don't want to take a shot and mess it up. They don't want to make a trade and like Now all of a sudden,
I see what you mean.
it should have been the core four. We made a trade. It didn't work out, and we've wasted the year where it was going to be as wide open as it was going to be. I think they're going to play it
That's
safe.
how a GM gets fired, though. Like
That's-
trying to be smart and be safe is how you get fired,
And
because you
that's-
still have to.
yep.
They're not going to save his job for putting up an Eastern Conference Finals banner into the rafters. Like, you got to go win the big one. And the team, I mean, the Thunder just beat the class of the East last night, and the Rockets got better. So like, you already, even if the East has gotten slightly worse, like, you got to go win the whole thing, right?
I don't know what the move they make is, but I think they're going to be so risk adverse now, knowing that it's so wide open.
You
is the
guys know
problem.
me.
I don't think they're going to try to go grab it by the chokehold. They're just going to be like, we should get it. Because the odds right now,
can't, like,
having us at the best
future's
odds,
in the
they're like,
cloud, though. You can't like question mark, like, maybe when Mobley's 27 in a couple of years, like, the East will shake our way. Like, if you see for sure right now the East is very clearly wide open,
There's a path.
and you got a chance to go out and get someone, and you have movable big contracts, like, because even long term, if you're looking in the future, if you really do care about like having Evan Mobley around and like putting talent around Evan Mobley, moving off of one of these massive contracts of Garland or Allen is going to allow you to help him out in the future as well. Like, now is the time to do it.
You guys know I love the quote from draft day where Anthony Molina goes up to Sonny Weaver at Jogga Lake at Wildwater Kingdom and says, Sonny, people pay to get wet. Like, we need a splash here this offseason. They tried to make what would have been the biggest splash of the offseason for Kevin Durant. That's significant. The cat's out of the bag. I truly believe that the Cavs are trying to upgrade this roster.
they're just in a super tough spot because the wrong splash and it just not working completely is going to get you fired even faster. If it does, and going from first seed and you're opening up as the favorites. I'm not even saying what I would do because now I'm a little torn. I'm definitely trading Jared Allen, but
right.
it's just I could see it's going to be a weaker East. They're saying we were the one and all our comp is gone. We just got to beat the Knicks, and they're going to say we have a puncher's chance in the finals. That's what they're thinking right now. Maybe they make a mid-season move if they see it's iffy,
true.
but that's what
That's
I
how
see
losers
happening
think,
right
though.
now. They're going to play it safe.
Come home, LeBron. That
We-
mid-level exception sounds sweeter and sweeter, don't it?
I'm glad you said that. We got to take a break. When we get back, I'm going to propose a question. We already saw Kevin Durant get traded to the Houston Rockets, and that probably will be the blockbuster move of this NBA offseason. There is one move that could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's probably not likely, but would be a bigger blockbuster trade. You probably know what I'm referring to. We'll talk about that when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Pidone, Rob Watson. Guys, I have to propose a question because I like to have fun, and people get all their britches in a bunch.
People
over-
hate fun, right?
Someone
They
lost
do
a
hate
couple
fun.
followers for having
Dude, I
fun.
lost like
yesterday.
100 followers because of
But
this.
the question I'm going to ask, because we like to talk about it, because it's fun. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. I know some people would
possible,
be
though.
besides themselves because some people, in fact,
Player option could get declined.
hate the guy that brought you your only championship in 100 almost years. And that's, of course, LeBron James back in 2016. But LeBron James, obviously, likely to retire as a Los Angeles Laker, whether that's after next season, whether it's this offseason, unlikely. LeBron to the Cavaliers would, I think we all agree that it would make them a better team. The problem comes with, well, what do you have to give away? Are you giving away your future for 1 year? And then the comeback would be, well, if you get LeBron, you're likely to win the NBA Finals this year, and I think you would trade a lot of guys in a future, quote unquote, for an NBA title.
Yeah, that's what this boils down to. And with the second apron, a trade for LeBron James is pretty difficult just based off the mathematics and the way that the Cavs currently, stand in terms of their roster, where you really are limited to a 1-for-1 trade. And the Cavs don't really have a matching salary for LeBron. So a LeBron James acquisition, I guess if we want to call it that, to the Cleveland Cavaliers would have to come via contract opt-out. It would have to come the same way that the Cavs landed LeBron James back in 2014 when he opted out of his contract with the Miami Heat and agreed to return back to the city of Cleveland. I think what's fascinating to me about this now is we see LeBron increasingly becoming more comfortable with the conversation of a retirement. We saw the Amazon ad that he put out there for their, big promotion coming up. We saw him at Fanatics Fest out in New York City, linked up with Cash, which was phenomenal to see. Kai Cenat, he's gonna pop on a stream with him. So I think we're starting to see LeBron be more comfortable, starting to embrace what life could look like after basketball. And the question for him is going to have to boil down to, do you want to just ride this thing out with the Lakers and, ride off into the sunset in a pretty difficult Western Conference where they traded for Luka this year? That was a move to set the Lakers up for the future, flamed out in the playoffs again. Are you cool with that? Because that's where your family's at. That's where your business ventures are at. Or do you really want to shake things up? Do you really want to go for it one last time? Do you really want to put that exclamation point on what's been truly a Disney storybook? Like when you think about the story of LeBron James, right? And I don't mean to hop on a soapbox here, but this is an individual that's defied the odds from literally day one, from being from Akron, Ohio. I think this gets forgotten about because of how much it's commercialized. But LeBron coming from a single mother home in the streets of Akron and the improbable journey through St. Vincent, St. Mary, where he was crowned from day one and he lived up to all of that hype. And, we've lived through the heartbreak of the decision and the joy of the return. And when he delivered on the promise in Cleveland for the championship, and he won one with the Lakers, which is basketball, history, to do it in that organization and the purple and gold and one of the most valuable franchises on all of sports. The true storybook ending would be to win one more back home, one more in the city of Cleveland, one more for the community of Northeast Ohio, and all of the great things that he's done here off the court, with dating all the way back to the bike drives and the I Promise School. The storybook ending would be to do one here in Cleveland. One more.
Here it is. We're going to have our answers to if this is even possible by the end of the week. LeBron James has a player option for this next year of his contract, like he does every year. He controls his destiny. This is what LeBron does. The player option deadline is the 29th. We will know by Sunday if he's going to opt out of that $52 million and go and test what he wants to do, whether that's going to be opening up money and maybe taking less to make the Lakers roster better, or if he wants to come to a team like Cleveland on a cheaper deal to maybe move around and win a championship. We're going to see. If LeBron opts out and you're the Cavs and you don't call and you don't say, we'll make room for you, we'll bring you in, you just don't even care. That's the perfect piece. It would come in, we would be championship favorites. The odds would jump from that plus 700, we would be like plus 200 right there next to the Thunder. It's pretty obvious. And it wouldn't have to be a trade. You wouldn't have to give anything up. You'd maybe have to restructure or move around the contract, but you wouldn't have to give away your core. It's that simple. If LeBron says on Sunday, I'm opting out of my player option, the Cavs need to be banging down his door saying, come home, we can get this done next year. This is the most open it'll be.
And for the people that are saying they wouldn't welcome LeBron James home, I pose the question, why? Is really all I have to say. I would love to have some sort of rehearsed freak out or radio guy bit on here, but I don't. My question to the people that wouldn't want LeBron back in Cleveland, why? You saw what he was able to do for the Lakers in year whatever it is, at age 40, whatever it is. This is a guy that is still capable of playing high-level basketball, and if you're doing it via free agency, you're not sacrificing your future. You're not sacrificing the core four. If anything, I would argue there are some individuals in that locker room that said that they felt like they were unprepared for game one of the second round against the Indiana Pacers. Maybe some of those guys in this young core that you all love so much could use a little tough love, could use to learn a thing or two from the old GOAT LeBron James. I would welcome him home with open arms, and I really think if that news came down later this week, Rob, that he's turning down that player option, I think the rest of the city is going to start singing my same tune.
Hey, it's possible. We'll see what happens. We got to take a break. When we get back, we'll wrap up this bad boy on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody, wrapping up this edition of The Big Fact on the Big Play Sports Network. I'm Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. We got about a little
Sweatiest edition of The Big Factor ever.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, 100% easily sweatiest. Okay.
And we did a show outside in the 90-degree heat
And it
just
wasn't this
2
bad.
days ago, and it wasn't this bad.
No, it wasn't. Jack, we got a little bit about a minute and a half left. The Cleveland Guardians right now, I saw something potentially trading for Josh Naylor back again if they're buyers at the deadline. Just please explain to me why that's a horrific idea.
Yeah, we're gonna get Josh Naylor back. This would be really, really stupid, guys. I don't understand this one from like 85 different levels. A of all, we have 3 first basemen on the roster currently. B of all, Josh Naylor has an expiring contract. Nick, there's 2 prospects that everyone's talking about every single day calling up. Chase DeLauder and CJ Kafis. Do you know CJ Kafis' natural position?
First base.
He plays first base as well. So, yeah, there is absolutely zero reason whatsoever that the Cleveland Guardians should consider trading for Josh Naylor. Kyle Manzardo, I know he's struggling a little bit over the last month and a half or so. He's still got 11 home runs, I think, which is second on your team. So, unless you want to replace either the guy who's second on your team in home runs, your number 2 prospect that could be in the majors in the next couple of weeks, or an all-star from last year, or a guy you paid $12 million this offseason, Josh Naylor, not for you.
All right, then we're out of time here on The Big Factor. I'm Ryan Tyler. He's Jack O'Rourke. He's Nick Padone. He's Rob Watson. Nick, real quick, why don't you just give us a little quick more about the Geauga County Fair?
Geauga County Fair. Today is your final day, Monday, June 23rd. If you're watching it on The Rock, that's fine. Today's the last day of the flash sale where you could get your tickets, JeaugaFair.com. If you're watching it on The Rock on Tuesday, no sweat. We'll be out there. Tickets are $10. They're $5 only for the flash sale. We will see you guys out there this summer, this Labor Day weekend. The Geauga County Fair is going to be the hottest party this summer.
All right,
cool.
We're out of time, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace out.